line the dolls up against the wall and play teacher. And I didn't realize that I was doing it at that age. But there is something in me that has for a very long time wanted to be in education. I love being in the classroom. And it was only when I was in my final year as an undergraduate that I realized that I could actually marry my interest in teaching and education with research, and that there was something called being an academic. And I was fortunate enough to be offered a position as what we called a senior tutor at my former university, where I would, be able to undertake my graduate degrees, my master's and PhD, and at the same time be a sort of apprentice tutor in the classroom. And I thoroughly enjoyed that experience. Went on and did my graduate degree and came back to Singapore to be a newly minted assistant professor. And I've thoroughly enjoyed my journey. I've thoroughly enjoyed a sort of 3-in-1 career. And what do I mean by that? There is a part of that role as an academic, which of course is about education and lecturing. There is a part about the career that's about research and contributing to knowledge and, in my work, policy insights and so forth. But there's also a third part of the work, which is to be in various roles in management. And that for me is really about facilitating other people's work. So I've sort of had the privilege and the great joy of having a 3-in-1 career. I will confine my remarks to the education industry, and I will make a distinction between what I call technology-enabled learning and, on the other hand, technology-enhanced learning. And what I mean by that is that there are possibilities around the world where there are those who don't actually have easy access to a physical classroom, to have easy access to learning in person. And so technology enables that education where it would not have been able otherwise. And I think there's a place for that. There is something to be said for technology-enhanced learning as opposed to technology-enabled learning, so that technology enhances the learning process but doesn't replace it. So, for example, if we were going to put something online for students to access. Sure, as a student, I can watch someone on video talking about a particular topic, like let's just say minimum wages, but it's not the same as actually going to do a project in the community with people who are working in low-paid, low-skills jobs, trying to find a way ahead in their lives. And there's nothing that replaces that experience. So I think that technology can complement learning under those circumstances, but cannot replace that learning experience. So my hope is that, when the pandemic dies down and hopefully goes away, we don't know when that is, but when that happens, that learning will be a combination of online and in-person learning that is curated in optimal ways to really deliver the learning outcomes. I think that there are several qualities that are quite important in sort of shaping success. One is having a mission. And I completely understand if one were 18 or 21, even 25, to be still somewhat uncertain as to what one's mission in life is. And I also completely understand that mission can change over time. And all that is perfectly legitimate. So don't be concerned if you've just graduated and you think, I don't really know what I want to do with my life. That's okay, that's normal. But over time, as one goes about one's work, it's important that I think we've got to feel that what we're doing is for a purpose beyond earning a keep, beyond making money, because that's what's going to really drive us for the longer haul. It could be about, education. It could be about making a difference to someone's life. It could be about, if one wanted to be a doctor, it would be about curing somebody. It doesn't matter what it is, having a mission, a sense of mission. I think a second thing that's really important for me is the ability to climb into someone else's shoes and to walk around in them. And that's not, those are not original words. They come to me from a favorite book of mine from the time I was 15. And the book is called To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. And it really is about, how learning to see things from other people's perspective is so important, not just in our careers, but in our lives, really, because that's when you build genuine relationships that will last you a long time. That's when you can deliver services, to be very utilitarian about it. That's when you can deliver services that are actually meaningful to your customer. That's when you can really produce the product. Imagine you were an industrial designer. The ability to walk around in somebody else's shoes is what's going to allow you to really design something that is usable from that other person's perspective. So, whether it's in life, in career, for pragmatic reasons or for relational reasons, the ability to climb into somebody else's shoes and walk around in them, I think is so important. What I'm about to say comes from the time that I was a young student in an all-female school, and I never quite realized it then, but because we were from an all-female school, we did everything ourselves. We, if we were putting up a play on stage, we knocked the furniture together ourselves. We carried heavy items to make up the props ourselves, and through that experience, we learned that there's nothing we can't really do if we put your minds to it. Putting your mind to whatever it is that you want to do carries you a far longer way than if you had self-doubt. And that lesson has stayed with me for a long time, because over the course of my career, there have been people who helped me with my self-doubt, right? There will be people who cast doubt your way and to say, oh, surely you can't do that, you can't achieve that. So for example, when I had quite a bit of family illness and family care responsibilities, I had a senior colleague say to me, oh, you can't take on this next role, surely. You've got too much on your plate, and you should just give up and not think about going on to the next role and so forth. And I remembered back in my school days that when it seemed impossible to create that prop on stage, because girls with pigtails don't have that kind of strength to do those things, we made it happen too. And so I suppose there will always be people who tell you, you can't do this, you can't deliver that, you don't have the wherewithal to do that or that or that. But that belief in yourself and finding the right people to be your partners, to work alongside you, those are so important things. So don't let the naysayers get you down. But at the same time, I would say don't overdo things, as in don't push yourself so hard that you create unnecessary stresses for yourself. So that balance that you were talking about earlier, Cash, I think is absolutely spot on. Knowing when to push yourself and to know that you can at the end of the day, bite that off and chew it and swallow it too, and knowing when not to push and not to pursue.